that onside kick should have never even attempted. Even if it would have worked out, it was still not a good idea.
I agree. It didn't work. You're talking about, I don't know what the odds are. I've seen statistics on it. It's generally a 15% play. And we all know the reasons why you typically pull off an onside kick is that you're behind. And everybody in the stadium knows that you're going to onside kick. But we've seen it pulled off, most notably, I believe, by your guy, Nick Saban, in the national championship game against Clemson, correct?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
one of the greatest onside kicks of all time.
Well, they pulled it off. So if he would not have pulled it off, would he have been an idiot?
Well, that was a different circumstance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
what was the
I'm saying, even if they would have retrieved the ball in that situation, it still wasn't a good idea from the just on a play calling perspective.
You have to explain.
Okay, so okay. In the situation where Alabama
play calling, you got the ball, you can call whatever plays you want.
You can, but it's just not. It's not a good decision to make when you're up, and you can get if you don't retrieve the ball, you give them a field standpoint advantage. Even if it would, like what all I'm saying is, even if it would have worked, it still is not a good idea to make that call.
Okay. So to be clear about where I stand on this, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think it was the proper call to make, but I think it was more about execution, because let's all understand that had they pulled it off, just like in other famous situations in the history of football, the two that come to mind are the national championship game, of course, in 2015, and then the other one in the Super Bowl between the Colts and the Saints. And when you pull it off, then it's genius.
But I'm saying that even if it would have worked out, it's still not a good play from a play calling perspective at that time of the game. If it would have been in the fourth quarter and they would have been behind a touchdown or so, if they're down 10 points and they need something to spark, then you take that chance.
The criticism, if you're down, so Nebraska at that point was up 28-17. Okay. And again, I agree with you. I would not have done it, but I think it was more about execution as much as it was about the decision. But let's understand, let's say Nebraska was down 28-24. And so that meets your criteria of they're down, they need to do something, they pull off an onside kick or they try an onside kick. Well, if they don't get it in that case, then the criticism could be that you're only down by 4 points. You're down by less than a score. Why'd you do that? All you have to do is get a stop on defense and get the ball back. And I'm just letting you know that it's the type call that if you don't succeed, you look stupid every time, unless you're down 21-0 and you have to onside kick it. You're going to look bad if you don't get it. The big problem in the execution of it was, and I don't know who to blame except Scott Frost is ultimately responsible, they kicked the ball to a running back.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying 100%. I'm just saying
the execution from the Alabama game was exquisite. If I recall, the kicker,
it literally landed right in his hand. I mean, he
chopped the ball perfectly, and whoever the wide guy was on the sideline just sprinted and it perfectly hopped over the player so he could be there to catch it. It was perfect.
Yeah. I'm even if it would have worked out, I would still say that was not a good idea in the Nebraska game.
Well, Hunter, one thing I am completely on board with you in regards to your logic, because I think a lot of people just go directly to, well, if it worked, it's a good decision. If it didn't work, it's a bad decision. I don't agree with that thought process.
Yeah, that's not my position.
You can make all sorts of stupid decisions and they can work out for you. You can blow your savings on lottery tickets tonight and one of them might hit. Was that a good decision? No, you got lucky. So that happens, sure.
But anyway, from that point on, since we discussed about that, their Nebraska's defense was just a dumpster fire. I,
Terrible.
I don't think I've seen a that was just odd. I mean, I don't know if it's what happened, but that's not going to win Scott Frost ball games. I mean, they've got to clean that up immediately. I mean, if I'm Scott Frost, I mean, as soon as I get back to the hotel or wherever they're meeting after that game, I'm meeting with my defensive staff. Go, what the hell just happened?
Well, this is what basically happened. Unless Northwestern is a completely different offense than what we saw last year. They've got the same quarterback. They've got the same running backs. They've got 4 of the same 5 offensive linemen coming back. They've got their top receiver back from last season. So from a personnel standpoint, this is the same Northwestern offense as last year, and they were horrible last year. Northwestern's offense was non-existent last year, and they tore Nebraska to shreds. Nebraska could not mount any kind of pass rush in this game.
Yeah, shout out to Kyle for that super chat, by the way.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that so much. FSU is looking good on paper. Well, they looked good on the field tonight, Kyle. But of course, they're playing Duquesne. So they played a glorified scrimmage and they won the game. And now it's off to LSU. And so we'll know a whole lot more about Florida State football, of course, in about 8 days.
But Mark, anyway, so I mean that was just a frustrating game for me to watch because I have a friend of mine that's a big Nebraska fan, and so I wanted them to win. But hey, I mean I'm not. Pat Fitzgerald is one of the best coaches in college football, if you ask me. He's in the top 15 coaches in football. So I mean, it's no surprise that he was able to coach his way into a win there.
Well, actually, Hunter, I believe that Pat Fitzgerald is technically and most accurately the 9th best coach in college football. Did you know?
I didn't know where he was in the.
He's exactly the 9th best coach in college football.
So it's no surprise to me that he was able to do what they did. I mean, they looked sloppy at times in the first quarter, and they looked kind of inconsistent, at times. But they pulled it together when they needed to. So I mean, you can't dog them too much about their performance. I mean,
he's the 10th best coach in college football. I just looked it up.